Welcome to an hour of HealthMade Radio. HealthMade is a community for natural health seekers where we educate people about common health conditions and share extensive research on the most effective natural health treatments and promote legislation that protects our health freedoms. A core concept belief is in the innate intelligence and healing power of the body, and if properly supported spiritually, emotionally, and nutritionally, it can find its way back to health. HealthMade Radio will bring you information from integrative health experts throughout the world. Check us out at healthmade.co. Health is what you make it. I am Dr. Michael Karlfeldt, and I will be your host. Today's guest is Andre Smith, founder of Signature Health and inventor of the HOCATT. Andre Hugo Smith, son of electrical engineer, spent his youth helping dad with all sorts of do-it-yourself projects. These early lessons led Andre to create several unique wellness products and ultimately find a solution that will disrupt the health and cosmetic industries as we know it, the HOCATT Ozone Sauna. As the founder of Signature Health, Andre and his research team continue to positively impact the lives of others through a variety of visionary inventions focused on improving wellness and vitality. Andre, we have a HOCATT in our center, and we love it. Can you tell me a little bit what drove you to invent the HOCATT?
Thank you very much, Dr. Karlfeldt. Yes, I think one of the most important things for me is that, first of all, maybe I should tell you a little bit about my own personal health background, is that I come from a place where, we grew up with rugby. I had several concussions resulted from rugby. I've been doing karate for 10 years. I had some from there. And then, of course, at the early age, we started doing off-roading and got like a lot of injuries from that. And I think one of the main things for myself as well is that I got myself in a health situation where my body was very sensitive to food or nutrition. So I think if I have to look at all of this, apart from trying to, finding something that can help for me. Now, if I want to say something maybe that's very important, is that when you look at the bell curve of nutrition, and that basically just means that it's a diagram where most people, when you give them a supplement or a nutrition or a drug, there's a curve where most people fall into that curve. And for some reason, I was always outside of the curve. So if you would give somebody a vitamin C or a supplement, they would say, wow, can you feel it? And I would go like, no. And nothing would help for me. And the food sensitivity, I just always felt bad, after I've ate. And it systematically, just impacted my health.
And that's something that I know a lot of my patients, a lot of people out there are impacted by, meaning they take all these supplements and they really don't feel that big of a change, or they feel like it doesn't matter what they eat. They feel bloated. They feel their stomach is just not, feels a little bit inflamed. So that's kind of in the position that you were in at that time?
Absolutely. And the thing is, you really don't know where to go with it. But one of the things that helped me is when I was active, if I do some exercise, that can help me. And there was some sort of a relief in that. I think one of the things then what happened with me is early in my life I got involved with hydrotherapy. And it was amazing to see that when, with blood circulation from the hydrotherapy, the heat, and then different kinds of essential oils, how that could impact my life. And I guess at that stage, because it was so profound and because it was, it was really like nothing I could take, no drug. If I didn't know anything about nutrition at that stage where, that could really make an impact for my life. But at that stage, hydrotherapy really, really did something amazing for me on a consistent scale. So I started to investigate more what was going on. And one of the things is that I have learned is that if you want to be healthy, every good doctor will tell you you have to do exercise. And the reason why that is so great then, with exercise, or what happened then, the correlation with hyperthermia or hydrotherapy would be that your body temperature rises. And what happened during this stage is that your enzymes, your hormones, and your neurotransmitters, plus the cell signalers, work at optimal state. So that's something that I basically, latched onto. It's something that I kept with me, that I knew no matter what, no matter how food would influence me, that can help me.
So it's almost like when you are exposed to, that increase in temperature, it's like turning on then the volume of all your hormones and all the different immune-boosting chemicals and activating the immune system to kind of repair tissue and kill off pathogens and so forth.
Exactly. So basically, around about between 98 to 104 Fahrenheit, that is where any enzyme becomes at its, function at its optimal state. And obviously, for most pathogens and viruses, that become a very, very uncomfortable environment, exactly like you say. So I thought to myself, that is really very interesting, and it's something that I will pursue further in my life. I enjoyed the fact that, that you can help people, and for people that don't have any sort of a relief, you can give them you can give them a modality, and it really makes a difference. For most of people, it will make a positive effect. So later on, I got introduced into ozone therapy, and that was one of the most fascinating discoveries that I have found in my life. So, of course, at the stage when I discovered it, this is almost like 20 years ago already, there was really a bunch of, at that stage, the internet, we had dial-up phones. And it was just dial-up internet connections. And it took a long time to research it. And a lot of the stuff that was on there was very negative. It came from, it's dangerous, and there were some, warnings about it. But then when I look at all, the little bit of substantial information I could find at that stage on the internet, it was really, really amazing and substantial that I wanted to pursue it. So for myself, living in South Africa, we had no ozone therapy. Well, there was two, and there was no ozone industry. So there was two practitioners doing ozone therapy. The one was already retired, and the one was practicing, in a city not where I lived. So I tried to pursue this for some time, and I would phone this practitioner and I said, Doctor, so is it possible that he can teach me? And, for a long time he just kept saying no. And then I said, okay, well, thank you very much. I believe I'll phone you next time or next week. And I did. So eventually, after I phoned him 6 times, he and his assistant said, Andre, he's busy. So one day he phoned me back and he said, Andre, I can see you are not going to stop. And I said, Doctor, I absolutely am not going to stop. He said, I will work in your garden for free and I will clean your hospital, your clinic for you. All I want you to do is if you can just teach me, how to do ozone therapy.
He figured it will take less time to teach you than to say no every time you're calling.
Absolutely. Plus, he can get somebody to clean his clinic for him.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he said, Andre, I can admire that, and I can see you're really eager, so I'm going to teach you. So he said, so tell me, what are you? Are you a doctor or homeopath? I said, well, neither. And he said, but, okay, so are you a nurse or ambulance? I said, well, neither. And he just gone like, so what do you, I said, well, I'm in hydrotherapy. He said, Andre, no. Please go back to your hometown, to your hometown job, just go back to your old job and go and do that. You cannot stick needles in people, and it's going to take you at least 2 years, to get to a point where you can, actively get, use the therapy. So at that stage, that was really not what I wanted to hear, but that was the best thing that could have happened to me. So I thought to myself, wow, that is crazy. So anybody can, there's nobody in South Africa. We only have one ozone practitioner, and anybody that wants to, participate in ozone therapy need to go to this practitioner. And our health system do not support, practitioners that do ozone therapy. And I thought to myself, what if I get something that people at home can use, that is as effective, or that can at least give some of the benefit of what ozone therapy can do. At that stage, then I started to, experiment, and I started reading up, and I've just spent days and days and weeks researching how to do that. Eventually, I learned about transdermal ozone therapy. That was when things started to change. So at that stage, I've then developed the first ozone sauna on the African continent.
That's incredible.
That is basically how it started from there.
That's incredible. We're gonna take a quick break. I'm here. You're listening to HealthMade Radio, and I'm talking to Andre Smith. He is the inventor of this amazing machine, HOCATT, that has just impacted people and their health in so many different ways. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to HealthMade Radio. I'm Dr. Michael Karlfeldt. I'm your host. I'm here today with Andre Smith. He is the inventor of an amazing machine called the HOCATT. And Andre, you were telling me that since you couldn't stick any needles into anybody, you had to figure out another delivery system of ozone and still incorporate and things like the aroma, the essential oils, and also the elevating the body temperature to activate the enzymes for tissue healing, for immune system support and detoxification and so forth. So that is pretty much where your mind, I mean, that's where the initial prototype of the HOCATT was born.
Exactly. So that was what we called then at that stage the first, it was the first ozone sauna on the African continent. And it was right up my alley because it elevated the temperature. I got the cardiovascular output that I wanted, and then also the delivery of ozone through the skin. Now, there was a lot of controversy at that stage, or, people did not, first of all, they didn't understand ozone therapy. And then second of all, they definitely do not understand, or they definitely didn't, and very few still didn't understand the power of transdermal therapy and how that works. So anyway, I pursued this, but as we've gone along with this, with myself, not being a qualified health practitioner or whatever, I basically started this industry in South Africa, where we built the ozone saunas and basically just looked at the indications of the contraindications of saunas as to what you shouldn't be using it and ozone for what you shouldn't be using, and for everything else, if somebody say let's try it. I mean, we have never killed somebody. So, let's put them in there. And people just responded so, their bodies and responded so great to it that, I then decided, all right, so in my mind, I then going to say what we're going to do is we want to, I want to concentrate on cancer. So at that stage, I then went to all the oncologists around myself, into Johannesburg, into Pretoria, and I've literally set up meetings with all of them, the top guys, and I've gone to explain to them about this wonderful technology. And everybody said, so where's your research? I said, well, that's a little bit of a problem, but, I don't have direct research myself, but I can just tell you that, you can look at the ozone and you can look at hyperthermia and, you can draw conclusions from that. But what we see is that people positively respond with anything, and they just said, okay, well, we're sorry, we cannot, if there's no research, we cannot go with it. So I've spent months seeing all the oncologists. And then later, not one of them even wanted to look at it. Then I went to the homeopath, and the homeopath exactly had the same, there was not one, months and months. So 6 months went by, I've developed this thing. It's an amazing device. I just keep making it better and better with some more risk management systems, et cetera, and I cannot get anything sold. So eventually, one day, I decided I'm going to give this to another company. It was APS, Action Potential Simulation. Basically, what they do is they just had like electrical pulses, and these guys really knew how to, market well, and they had a very big network of health professionals that sold. So I phoned the CEO and I said to him, listen, I have something really, really amazing. This thing it's really something else. The problem is I don't have research. On the internet, it is, there's virtually no information that can support the functions and the mechanisms of this product. And he said to me, Andre, you really sound as if you got something. Let me tell you, there's something that, you need research. So he said, here's how we go about it. I'll set up a meeting for you. It's the head of physiology at the Pretoria University. And if he thinks you got something, then, he will do some research and then we will take it and we will market it. I said, well, that sounds amazing. So in the day, I then went to the professor. I literally sat there. It was over 3 hours. And at the end of the day, he just kept saying, Andre, you should stop saying cure. You should stop saying this. You should stop saying that. And he said, and I really need to go now, and I'm sick and tired of these guys coming in here with this activated oxygen. And, there's no scientific evidence for that. I literally got a tear in my eye because here I couldn't even, it's so amazing. And these guys cannot see what I see. Anyway, so then I said to him, Professor, please, can I just get another 5 minutes? And if this doesn't change anything, then I will go out and I will, accept that it's not going to happen. And he said, Andre, you've got 5 minutes, and part of it is gone already. So I said to him, so can I just explain? Do you understand? Do you know how ozone works? And he just sat back and he said, no, I believe I don't. I said to him, so that's the problem. Let me explain it. And I explained to him that ozone basically, it's 3 oxygen molecules, it's unstable, and all that it wants to do is the one oxygen molecule wants to break loose and it wants to attach to a pathogen, anything anorganic, a dead cell, a virus, a bacteria, or a fungi. And then the byproduct of that is oxygen. No side effects. And that was I said, so basically, you can say that you have to, if I have to think about it, and that came up with me in that meeting, I said, if I have to think about it, basically what we're sitting with is the strongest detoxification device in the world. And he just sat back and he said, really, detoxification? And I said, yes. I said to him, and you can look, even if you have 1,000 inside this chamber, when you go in and you go out after a few sessions, they get thinner as they wear away from the oxidation. He said, really? I said, yes. He said, do you have anything that can say that? And I said, yes, that I can send you because that's an ozone therapy, and the rest is, hyperthermia. And he says, Andre, that really sounds fascinating. Detoxification. He says, yeah, let me tell you something. I have a project on weight loss that we want to run. He says, do not ever think that I'm going to, do any trials on cancer or arthritis or anything. But here's what I will do. We have a weight loss project that we need to run, and one of the main components for weight loss is detoxification. And once you detoxify the body, it's easier to lose weight. I said, well, I believe we have something, exactly for you. Anyway, so it just went on, and I had one to the back of my truck, and I said to him, you know what, I have got one in the back of my truck. Do you want to see it? And he said, really? I said, yes, I got it here. I said, but there's one problem, is that I've parked about a kilometer, which is like a half a mile, more than a half a mile away on the other side of the campus because I didn't know where your offices were. He says, well, let me see if I can quickly speak to my assistant. He said to her, listen, please just ask whoever was sitting outside, I will be back in 15 minutes. He walked with me. When we got there, he actually got inside the sauna. He was fascinated with it, just because detoxification.
That's incredible.
Anyway.
Yeah. So let's, and that just speaks volumes of the implication of this machine. We're just going to take a little quick break, and we'll be right back with Andre Smith, the inventor of the HOCATT, and it's amazing technology that it provides. We'll be right back. Welcome back to HealthMade Radio. You're listening to Dr. Michael Karlfeldt. I'm here with Andre Smith, the inventor of the amazing machine HOCATT. So, Andre, you're telling me the journey on how you finally get somebody to look at the machine, the HOCATT, and since then, at that time, you had it so that it provided ozone, and you're telling me that ozone, all it is that you have O3 that is unstable, so 3 atoms of oxygen, and then 1 atom will then split away, and it will literally then oxidize pathogens like viruses, bacteria, parasites, fungus, or it will oxidize chemicals, to help with detoxification of it, or it will also stimulate tissue repair, and will do all these amazing things at the same time as you have the increased temperature, which will then activate these, speed up then the hormone activity, your enzyme activity, your immune system activity, and also that in itself will work on killing off these pathogens. So what are all the different things that, finally you get somebody to look at the machine, and what are all the therapies that you've kind of brought together into this machine?
All right. So basically what happened then is in 2010, 2009, I met the head of Cairo University Cancer Department, Professor Nabil Moussouf, and he basically became the company's scientific consultant. And then the one thing about him, what is very significant, is that he is the person that supervised the most theses on ozone therapy in the world. So he supervised 72 theses on ozone therapy, and the next professor to that is 4.
So if anyone should know anything about ozone therapy, this would be the gentleman.
Exactly. So he was also the scientific consultant for the Egyptian Navy, so he did a lot of work on hyperbaric oxygen chambers. So in conjunction with that, and then he was also an expert in acupuncture and electrotherapy. So he was also a referee at the World Health Organization. He has many published studies on ozone therapy and various other, pain management and cancer therapies, etc., etc. So he became my mentor. And basically what happened was he contacted me one day and said, Andre, I've done already theses 2 on ozone saunas, and right now we're going to open up the first ozone clinic in Oman. And I've seen your stuff. We've used the German model before, but yours look very interesting. Can you send me some information? I sent it to him. He came back to me and said, Andre, this thing is amazing. it seems like you really thought what you're doing here. They're opening up in 2 months. Can we have it there? I said, yes, it's fine. He then started looking at it, and we started working together. So then the next step, what happened from there, is we started to build in carbonic acid. Now, we started to look at I asked him, Professor, how can we potentiate the efficacy of, this device? And he said, Andre, I absolutely will work with you. I can see that, it's not just about the money. You really want to help people. You really want to go at it and, improve this device so that it can deliver the absolute best result that you can get. So I said, that is absolutely for sure. So we put in the carbonic acid, and basically the carbonic acid is a stage that come in before the ozone therapy. And there's two things apart from all the aesthetic things that it help your skin, it's like an amazing therapy, aesthetic therapy as well. But the two main mechanisms of carbonic acid is the first one is it it basically stimulates your autonomic nervous system in a way that it downregulates your sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight and flight, which if people are normally in fight and flight, which we all are, it has a tremendous negative effect on your digestive system, on your nervous system, on your endocrine system, all your hormones, neurotransmitters, etc., etc. It just throws your body out in a chronic stress environment. So it will downregulate. It will downregulate the sympathetic nervous system, and it will upregulate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is where we should be normally dominant, where it's your rest and digest. When you can go to bed, you can sleep, your food can digest properly, your nervous system work properly, and energy can flow properly through your body. So that is something that is so significant when we look at that on a on a max pulse. You can basically see where people are so sympathetic dominant, and then literally an hour and a half later, they balance out. So those people just relax. We had people that literally got out the HOCATT, and they just cry out, they just break into tears. And they just say, sorry, I didn't know why I'm so emotional. I have no idea. I feel so ashamed. And, of course, a lot of therapists realize that these people are experiencing, calmness. They just de-stress so much that they could just release all these emotions that came forth, that it immediately put them into a state of readiness for healing.
Yeah, because you have the parasympathetic, which is when you get out of the sympathetic, get into the parasympathetic. I mean, that's pretty much where all the healing takes place, and all the detoxification takes place there, and all your digestion of nutrients takes place there. And so, people being in that sympathetic state all the time, they can't detoxify, they can't repair, and they can't digest. So they're not getting any nutrients, they get filled with toxins, and their bodies are continually breaking down. So to be able to put them into that state, through this machine, it's huge.
Correct, and that is one of the big problems in in healthcare at this stage, is that people, health practitioners will, they will put people, they will give them all kinds of therapies, they will do all kinds of, give them all kinds of supplements or drugs or whatever, but they never realize that at the end of the day, it's your body that does the work. It's not really it depends on what you use, but your body needs to come back with a response to that therapy or drug or supplement that they give it. And if it's not in a parasympathetic, if they didn't take the time first to put that person into a parasympathetic dominant mode, really it's an uphill climb if you want to help somebody that's already in a state of sympathetic dominant, in that state.
And that's why we're dealing with so many people with, let's say, high blood pressure, for instance. I mean, that's an epidemic. And to be able to put somebody in that parasympathetic state, which the carbonic acid does, that with this machine, and that's why I'm so fascinated with. I mean, ozone. I can't say enough about ozone and how powerful and what it does. But something that a lot of people aren't aware of is the impact of carbonic acid being able to put us in this state, the parasympathetic, to lower your blood pressure, to reduce inflammation, the blood vessels, and initiate tissue repair.
Exactly. So now that you mentioned the blood pressure, it's basically that is the second mechanism. It dilates the blood vessels to immediately lowers blood pressure. So I will just mention something about carbonic acid. So a study that they've done in Tokyo, they took food baths, and it's carbonic acid food baths. One is just normal water, fresh water at 34 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. And then the same in carbonic acid. It's probably around 87. It's probably around about 87 Fahrenheit, around there. So basically, they will put the guys for 3 minutes. They put their feet into. These people, by the way, had diabetic ulcers. So they will put them first in fresh water, and there was I think it was an average of 15% increase in blood circulation. Then they will take it out and they will immediately put it in the carbonic acid food bath. And immediately they got up to 250% blood flow. That was transdermal food bath with carbonic acid.
That's incredible. So if you have then a machine where you're then delivering that with steam,
then you get an potentiated effect of that.
Yeah.
So they've done that before. So then they said, that is amazing. So they've done that again. So they tried the fresh water, and then they tried the carbonic acid again, and it rose to 30. Then they said, okay, so what happened if we put it back? Then it dropped down again to just above 20% in the fresh water. Then they said, okay, let's put it back in carbonic acid. It rose to 270. And then they said, okay, let's put it back. So it dropped to just over 20 again from base in the fresh water, and then they put it back in the carbonic acid a third time, and it rose to over 300% increase. And basically then after what they found with the carbonic acid is that with perpetual use, the effects of it become more, permanent, to the point where it can, it's written and published, it can reconstruct a functionally closed capillary. Now, for everybody out there, a capillary, basically you do not get your capillaries. It's the smallest blood vessels in your body, and once they are blocked or calcified, you do not get them back. It is basically what they say, you get old, and improvement for capillaries is really, really, really very difficult. But carbonic acid just on its own, without any exercise, proved to be able to reconstruct that. That is amazing about the carbonic acid mechanism. So basically what that does also, apart from that, is it will open your pores. So that is now the pre-stage of this therapy. So now you're relaxed, your parasympathetic dominant, so that your body starts working, your enzymes, your digestive systems, your autonomic nervous system is balanced so that all the energy and signals can go where it should be going. And then in comes the ozone therapy. Now, we get about an absorption of 200%, between 2 to 300% more. And I would love to say ozone, but your body do not absorb ozone. Your body basically absorbs hydrogen peroxide. So when the ozone gets into the body, into the chamber, it mixes with the steam and it becomes H2O2. Now, that is exactly what your body... So if I inject you with ozone therapy, your body, inside your blood, it will convert to H2O2, hydrogen peroxide. And hydrogen peroxide is now commonly, among scientists, concur that hydrogen peroxide is one of the most potent cell-signaling molecules in the body.
Well, we just got to take a quick break, Andre, and I want to hear much more about what the hydrogen peroxide does, and also I would want to kind of let you tell me a little bit of some of the things that you've seen, the impact on people that have used this therapy. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to HealthMade Radio. You're listening to your host, Dr. Michael Karlfeldt, and with me today I have Andre Smith talking about an amazing technology called the HOCATT. And Andre, you were telling me about hydrogen peroxide, how the ozone within the HOCATT, first you have the carbon dioxide and it prepares your pores to open up to increase the absorption of the ozone that then immediately gets converted to hydrogen peroxide, and it functioning then as a huge singling molecule. And what does that do in the body?
So basically what happened, let's just come back to ozone and hydrogen peroxide. It is controlled. When you talk about ozone therapy or hydrogen peroxide, it is a controlled oxidative stress therapy. And here the emphasis is on the word controlled. So basically what will happen is if you basically stress a cell under 5%, nothing will happen. So if I say under 5%, so your body has an antioxidant capacity, a total antioxidant capacity. That is all the antioxidants in your body, and all of them together have and everybody is different at different stages. So it's not like your antioxidant capacity is X and it stays like that. When you eat something, it changes. When you do exercise, it changes. When you stress, it changes. So at that stage, then what you need to do is if you stress the cells or the body at under 5% of its total antioxidant capacity, nothing will happen. If you stress it over 25%, it is too much. It is kind of like you overcharged a battery. You can damage a healthy cell or whatever. And then you have actually a very wide range between 5 and 25%, which if you stress the antioxidant capacity within there are amazing mechanisms that came about. So one of the most amazing things is that within this range of oxidative stress, your body, it will signal to your cell, we are basically under attack with oxidative stress. So what your body will do is will say, all right, great, tell all the cells we need to make glutathione, antioxidants. And then your body come back with a tremendous response of antioxidants, with the glutathione response, which is glutathione is the body's natural antioxidant. Now, if you go and look at all this, and by the way, there are over 30,000 studies conducted in different universities and clinics all over the world. Russia, Cuba, Germany, and Italy being the leaders. Spain is also very, very big on that, and then also Egypt University is probably one of the universities that have done the most, internal studies on ozone therapy as well. So basically, then what happened is that when you look at any mechanism in the body, if they've done a study on cancer, or if they've done a study on arthritis or fertility or whatever it may be, any kind of autoimmune disease or ulcers or anything, basically one of the main responses, mechanisms that why it's so effective for these things is that it basically come back with antioxidant response. It naturally, without giving your body any antioxidants, any nutritional value, it will make antioxidants in your body. Your body will produce it by itself.
So just that additional oxidative stress within those parameters, you actually trigger the body to produce one of the main antioxidants that the body produces, which is glutathione, which helps with energy production, detoxification, and so much more. And cancer, helping you to deactivate virus, and goes on and on and on. So I'm curious, Andre, with this machine that does all these different therapies, and we focus mostly on like hyperthermia, ozone, and carbonic acid. It does, also have electrotherapy, the Rife technology, phototherapy, exercise with oxygen therapy, and it's like 10 different therapies. What are some of what have you seen? You said you focused a lot on cancer, and obviously this is not a machine that cures anything or treats anything, but supporting people dealing with a condition, such as cancer. What have you seen? What kind of impact have you seen?
So one of the things that we've seen, let's start with, it basically, because it's something that do not treat something, it's not a treatment device. Basically what it does is just upregulate, it manipulates and stimulates your body, it challenges your body, it stresses it in a way so that your body can come back with its own and activate its own immune defenses, etc. So basically what we've seen, let's start with something like, this is an education. So I just want to say to all the listeners, this is for educational purposes only. But what has been reporting to us over the last 15 years, and bear in mind that, HOCATT has been about 8 years of the 15 years. We have added the carbonic acid and then added some of them, the latest modalities. So basically we've seen with cancer, people that normally would, they would go through rounds of chemo. On the third round of chemo, their white blood cells absolutely get worn out. They have infections. They have side effects. People get tired. So basically what happened is their immune system cannot handle the chemotherapy. And people will come to us, they will get the Dear Johnny letter, and the doctor would say, listen, I think it's better that you go home and spend your last days with your family, or get your affairs in order, or whatever it is, how they prefer to give the message. So you will get some people that will accept it, and then you will get some people that will say they will not accept it. They are going to look for anything, and they will not give up the fight until they blow out their last breath. So we always just get the people, mostly, that stage, but mostly people came to our doors when they've tried everything else. There's no hope, and now they say, okay, we will try you. Let's see what you can do. So when I talk about this, I'm talking about people that are on their last leg. Nothing else out there now coming to us because they are sure the oncologist told them they cannot help anymore. So I have seen around about 10 to 20% of stage 4 terminal cancer patients, if they just put in their HOCATT and they reasonably adjust their diets, that these people will start turning around. Immediately within the first 2 weeks, they will, their white blood cells will come up, their activity will come up, their blood will look great, the red blood cells are starting to look more oxygenated, and it is they get energy, because one of the main things about all of these therapies in the year is that it gives you energy, it gives you a great mood. Because it balances your hormones and your neurotransmitters, you feel better. You get more, your brain excrete more serotonin, etc., etc. So your mood elevates. You get more confidence. You get, will to live. So in many cases, what happens is these people will go back to the oncologist, and the oncologist will say, what on earth have you been doing? Your blood looks great. He said, well, we have been, down the road, we've done HOCATT. I say, what's that? Anyway, just, keep on doing that. I say, okay, so here's the thing. Your blood looks so great. We can give you, another round of chemotherapy. And at that stage, we would advise, say, there's, maybe you need to wait, because what you're seeing is an immediate response, right? Your body has not yet catch up. We've just given you the ability to heal and to your body the ability to heal and to recover. But you're in bad shape. Your kidneys is shot, your liver is shot, your colon, maybe you just need to wait a little bit. And the oncologist would say, listen, I think we need to try and, blast this cancer right out of your body. And then they give them another huge dosage of chemo. And sometimes that last dosage is, it looks so great, they just go overboard. And these people would literally in 15 days, I've seen it over and over again, and they would then pass away. Their body just, everything just, give in, because they were already before in a state where they were not ready for it.
Yeah.
So eventually what happened is that the people that did listen to it and just took their time and said, okay, we're going to go natural, these people recovered to the point where they were totally recovered.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Well,
later
I hate to do this because we're at the end of the show, and it's so much information that I would love for you to share. I mean, what I would suggest the listener to do is to go to either, it's Signature Health is the company, and the machine is called the HOCATT, HOCATT. And it's just been a phenomenal device to help people to regain health. And that's what it's all about. It's about health. It's not fighting disease. It's about reestablishing health. Whether you're dealing with something as dire as cancer, autoimmune disorders, or if you just want to lose weight. Like you're mentioning, this was originally, the interest was because they were doing studies on weight loss. So thank you all for listening today. Thank you so much, Andre, for being on the show today.
You're very welcome, Doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're listening to HealthMade Radio. Remember, connect with us at healthmade.co. Health is what you make it.